Interpreting and the role of interpreters have a long history extending from antiquity to the present day. In ancient times, interpreting played a crucial role in contacts between different civilizations. For example, the Egyptians employed interpreters for communication with foreign peoples in political and trade relations or as a tourist guide in the Middle East. In ancient Greece, interpretation was crucial for dialogues between citizens and foreigners, as the Greek language was predominant. In the Roman Empire, interpreters played a significant role in diplomatic negotiation and trade. Interpreting was a common practice in which speakers translated speeches into the other languages for multilingual audiences. Although Latin was the official language in Rome, other languages mixed together from all the various parts of the empire were also used. During the late Middle Ages, interpretation became crucial in religious contexts, so as to establish fruitful communication between Christians and Muslims. The very spread of religion brought developments. In fact, Jews relied on interpreters for centuries after Hebrew ceased to be the primary language. Even as Islam spread to Africa, interpreters had a major function as they collaborated in the Islamization process by translating religious oral texts from Arabic into local languages. With the advent of new discoveries and exploration, the use of interpreters became increasingly widespread. Christopher Columbus made use of them during the westward journey to the Orient. The conquistador Hernán Cortés, during his conquest in Mexico, had a personal interpreter, Doña Marina, also known as La Malinche, and the biologist Charles Darwin was accompanied by an interpreter during his geological studies Ireland. He was called a gaucho and spoke Spanish and Indian language. The work of the interpreter began to be considered as such in the early 20th century. Interpretation until World War I consisted of simultaneously whispering into the ear of the person listening to the speaker's speech. This technique is called chuchotage. World War I was the first event that opened the door for interpreting, but an even more important event was the Paris Peace Conference. Before, French was the official language used in Europe during diplomatic negotiation, but during the Paris Conference, many representatives of the Allied powers did not know this language. Many interpreters found themselves in an unfamiliar work environment, and in order to be able to interpret and memorize concepts for many hours, they decided to create a system of notes. The speaker must speak for about 10 minutes, and then the interpreter quickly rereads the notes taken and must return the message in the target language. In the 20th century came the turning point in the field of interpreting. The Nuremberg trial is marked as the beginning of modern conference interpreting. From the consecutive interpreting previously used, simultaneous interpreting was experimented with to speed up the delivery time in the foreign language. As with this technique, the interpreter speaks simultaneously to the speaker in the target language. Because this was a technique never used before, interpreters were insufficiently trained, and there were translation errors that risked affecting the sentences of defendants, such as Hermann Göring, a Nazi defendant who tried to take advantage of this new interpretative reality. There was therefore a need to better train future interpreters. So the first school for interpreters were established. The first school was established in Geneva. In Italy, there are specific schools for interpreters and translators, which provide a technical education, different from language university, that allows students to learn the trade of interpreter and translation. These schools have been fighting to be recognized for many years, and in 2002, by a degree equivalency with the L12 bachelor degrees was finally recognized, but despite this, there is still much to fight for. Interpreting has been involved in many technological evolution over time, from the invention of the computer to video conferencing tools to assist the interpreters, such as CAT tools to ChatGPT. The interpreter has evolved over time by adapting to the times, events, and new technologies. And as long as there are different cultures and languages, there will always be a need for an interpreter.